But as soon as the fingers linked up, boom, the boy glowed. The first attack comes, Horror dodges it, and Guggen defends. While Blue is already advancing from the side, problem is, even as he closes in on the first one, an attack from the second one is already incoming. He ducks just in time while another creature is doing something so bizarre. He can't even tell what's happening. These monsters are freaky as hell. It passes by Guggen, who's charging at the other monster, activating his prediction. Now the boy's in full sword mode, dodging deadly blows, leaping over attacks. As strong as they were all still within the possibilities. He looks for the core, and sees a strange blue orb on its back. The problem is, it starts to pulse, and he feels a strange sensation again. The same energy he felt gathering his finger earlier. And man, it seems like that red flicker breaking is his prediction failing. From the creature's eye, a laser shoots toward him. When he thought he was going to be skewered, Bam Harder rushes in from the side and headbutts the monster, making the attack miss. They both escape behind cover, and he asks how she did that. She just says he looked like he was in danger. And another monster comes while he's getting up with his sword. That power he saw was the same as what Blue possesses. The ability to create possibilities and go beyond what can be predicted. It was a power he didn't have, but even so, he'd do everything he could to kill that thing. Blue lands a punch square on the monster's head, sending it spinning backward. And right after he's already going in for a knee strike, the problem is, there were too many creatures around, and he couldn't afford to run out of energy mid-fight like last time. So he had to conserve energy, but also be fast about it. He dodges another attack and lands a solid punch right on the creature's core, which starts cracking. Then another one comes in for a bite while he sees a weird glowing sphere. He keeps dodging, weaving side to side, then lands another knee strike. The core finally shatters and the creature dies. Meanwhile, that other plant monster is shooting lasers at Guggen. At least from that distance, his prediction works well enough to dodge. He dodges one more, plants his sword in the ground, and turns to charge toward the boss. The monster's preparing another attack, but Guggen rushes in with 2 daggers. And now he sees the core up close. Looks like the strike will land clean, but it's not strong enough, and it only causes a crack. Now there are attacks coming from all directions, but when you see a blue glow, you already know who's coming, right man? Blue arrives, stomps down in the dagger, and smashes the core in. The blade sinks in. Guggen falls back in full swag mode, while the monster crumbles right in front of him. But it wasn't over yet. Haru was running from another one, but at the same time, our boy shows up and finishes off another. Meanwhile, the rest of the group that was getting eaten is over the screaming for help. If there's a curvy little blonde being saved, you already know who it is, right man? It's the Mohawk guide, saying she promised no wish if she was rescued. He leans in and whispers something in her ear. Right away she turns red, asking why he wants something like that. But after hearing the screams of terror all around, she says fine, if he gets her out of there, she'll do whatever he wants. Then the Mohawk throws up the rock hand symbol, celebrating. And obviously, right guys, the predator came out from inside the creature. However, thought she was going to die had to be really naive. And since she survived that, she started to see life energy. Now she was beginning to understand how that boy's movements worked. She goes to her bag, grabs a communicator and says that finally the call she had been waiting for actually went through, and informs them she now has the eyes. So they better explain how to use this life force stuff. Right there beside her were several cores lying on the ground, and Haru asks if Blue is really okay. He looked like he was in serious pain. He says it's fine. This much you could take. Meanwhile, Guggen can only feel that he was useless. Even if he hadn't been there, Blue would beat all of this alone. But now he had it in his head that he was going to free himself from these monsters. Still, he couldn't accept that at that moment, he was nothing more than a piece of trash. In the end, the truly pathetic one had always been him. They keep moving along the path, but Haru asks where Guggen is going. They were surrounded by fire. Obviously, he says he already prepared a way for them to escape. Confused, she wants to know how he planned all this. When he did alone was impossible. He just says that he met a bunch of people who were livestock to these guys and let's say, obviously, they wanted to escape too. Blue remembers the guy without legs and is now certain that's who Guggen is talking to. And Haru was impressed, wondering how he managed to plan all this while locked up. He just looks at Blue and says, "That's the best I can do." A little while later, they leap through the flames and are exiting through a hidden corner. When in the background, someone shouts saying you're coming too. When Guggen turns to see who it is, it's the Mohawk guy, bringing his beloved. Haru immediately recognizes her and says that the damn girl who tried to kill her that one time. So why is she here now? Then she unappears too, asking to go with them. Apparently, Guggen's intention was to leave everyone behind, but the group reunited again, and he says there are too many people now. He already points at knife at Lake Tara, Milky Girl, and warns her. If she tries anything to attract attention, she'll be cut on the spot. All men out of shape, she responds she will try anything. And the group keeps running, man. The paths are tight. They have to slide, crash into walls, park her their way through. But obviously, it wasn't going to be that easy. Haru soon notices a bunch of monsters approaching. While they're fleeing, the creatures are falling behind them, crashing to the ground, all twisted. Guggen's plan is working exactly as expected. They just have to deal with whatever creatures fell in front of them. Suddenly, that's exactly what happens, and the monster activates a chainsaw, out of its head. Guggen tells everyone not to do anything. He handles it himself. But then, a blue blur zips past, and that's it, man. The blonde girl is in disbelief that the kid just kills a monster with one punch. And right away, more monsters start raining down. But the glowing finger lights up again, man. Chores are raining down in front of them. The people can only see Blue's back, and he turns, and tells them, "Go now." Nobody says anything. Blue is starting to realize that the more he uses this power, the better he gets at controlling it. Now, he's noticing that when he boosts the energy, the extra strength lasts for just a few seconds. At the same time, he noticed that the longer he charges that energy, the stronger the attack is. Obviously, it also consumes way more life force in the process. The most he's been able to endure is 2 minutes, and now he's turning it on and off constantly to see if he can make it last longer. 2 monsters are coming to attack, but he just turns to Guggen and asks, which way to the base? Both Guggen and John answer the same direction. And then Guggen realizes that she always knew, out of nowhere, she had just been faking it. But suddenly, when he looks down, the ground in front of them looks like it's starting to crack. In them, there was a creature with a drill for a hand, and the entire ground collapses. The team falls off the cliff, and a short time later, Blue gets up. John lands on a rock and realizes that if she landed just a few centimeters off, she would have been crushed. On the other hand, Haru wasn't so lucky again. Her legs were buried. Blue immediately lifts the rock and asks if she can walk. She says she'll try. But at the same time, the monsters were already coming down from above, attacking the rocks and getting closer. Elsewhere nearby were Mohawk Guy and Guggen. The blonde asks where the kid who was killing the monsters went. He says he's not sure. Maybe he got crushed. That's when they hear Guggen screaming that she doesn't want to die. And they're sure the others are alive, but it looks like they got separated. The blonde's in shock. How would they supposed to survive without that kid around? Mohawk Guy, though, confident as ever, tells her to calm down when he's there. She asks what he's talking about, and he says he already promised he'd become her friend. Plus, she still has a promise to keep, right? But right then, a drill comes at him from behind. And man, that's it. Mohawk. Your virginity's gonna loot forever, my dude. This apocalypse ain't the one to fix that. The poor guy's eyes go wide. The monster charges at him and he gets swarmed. The bastard still manages to block with his bat. You know the thing gets cracked. But he's thrown into the wall, slams his back and ends up all twisted up. Meanwhile, in front of Blue and Haru, a wave of creatures appears.